So what exactly is going on with the Dragon Ball games nowadays? It seems like right before they get their stride and become something fantastic, they completely change directions into something else. And I'm here to ask, why?
You take that back! You'll regret saying that!
So let's take a step back. Back to the early 2000s when the Dragon Ball games really started to come into their own. I don't want to talk about anything from the 80s and 90s because those kind of have a special place in time, but they mean nothing to this conversation. So let's start it off with the Budokai series. When Budokai first came out, it blew my mind because we finally had a good-looking 3D Dragon Ball game. It let you do so many combos, the visuals were excellent, and to see those Kamehamehas and a bright flash of a Masenko, as a kid you thought this was so amazing. And looking back on it now, it definitely has some flaws. You feel like you're tethered to the opponent when you're fighting them, and you have to input different combos before you can do a Kamehameha. I remember the best combos like kick, kick, right kick, kick, energy, and you could do a special beam Kadet. Now this is exactly what I'm talking about. See, after Budokai obviously came Budokai 2, and this is where they took what they learned from the first game and implemented in the second game. In Budokai 2, you can move around a little bit better, you're teleporting like crazy, and the visuals went from here to here. You can finally see what a Kamehameha really looks like rather than a bright flash of light that the first game showed you. And of course, this game has its glaring weaknesses. When they added the ability to constantly teleport around, if you were good at it, everyone's just constantly disappearing and the fights could go on forever. But would also led us to the road to Budokai 3. Now at the time, Budokai 3 felt perfect. The graphics were amazing. Everything from the first two games has really been hammered down to give us one of the most perfect fighting games. And once it came to PC, we had amazing mod support for it. You could be SS4 Broly, if I remember, or like Spirit Form Goku with white hair, but this was before Super, so it was kind of creative. It was some real fan fiction there. I did forget to mention, in Budokai 2, they changed it so you didn't have to input strange combos before you can do your special move. You can just press down in circle or up in circle if you're on PlayStation and instantly fire a Kamehameha. And 2 and 3, it was so cool just to kind of sit there like, all right, here we go, Kamehameha. No longer was I doing weirdo combos. I played Budokai 3 so much. I roleplayed so much in that game. I love that I could transform into whatever level Super Saiyan I wanted at will. I could be base form Goku and be like, what? Super Saiyan 1, and I would pretend to yell at the NPC and like, you can't even wait to see my power. Then I transformed to Super Saiyan 3. I loved it.
No, something's wrong, I can tell.
So where am I going this? I bet you're wondering that. Well, I'm about to tell you right now. See, after Budokai 3 came out, and this was really on their stride, people were starting to pay attention to Dragon Ball games, they were good. Out of nowhere, they completely changed directions, and they gave us Dragon Ball Sagas. Now, Dragon Ball Sagas is nothing like we were just playing. It was like no other game kind of before it in its series. It was more of a strange, almost like a roguelike game. You see, you could play as Goku and Trunks and you're fighting random androids that have a power level of 12 and you're just kind of going around. It felt weird. It took nothing of what was going on in the previous fighting games and they did something totally different that no one was asking for. And if you go back to play it now, it is unplayable. And it was barely playable when it first came out. And this is the problem that I'm talking about with Dragon Ball. It seems like the rights to this franchise are just so spread out. It's not like other games. Like if you think about a publisher that they're going to own a franchise like Battlefield or Call of Duty or Madden, anything from those ones, they give you different iterations and you know what to expect as you buy the game. It seems like with a Dragon Ball game, you have no idea what you're gonna buy. You see a trailer, you're like, okay, I know Dragon Ball, they're gonna give me the same story, but at least I could punch people and better graphics and more characters now, right? Wrong! Here's a random roguelike game that you did not expect, out of left field. You see, if Dragon Ball was franchised properly and they just kept building on a foundation, we would get to the ultimate Dragon Ball game, but we keep grasping at straws and we're picking up the little breadcrumbs that they give us and we're just eating back our own childhood nostalgia, and they know that. And you know how I know that? Because after Dragon Ball Sagas flopped, out of nowhere came the Tenkaichi franchise. Dragon Ball Tenkaichi took what was going on in the Budokai franchise and turned it up to 11. Better 3D environments, more characters, more action, more explosives, more everything, and best of all, it gave you, the player, more freedom to play how you wanted. And as that franchise decided to mature, it gave us Tenkaichi 2 access to more characters, of course better graphics and gameplay, but I do want to blow past this one super quick and teleport us to Tenkaichi 3. To everyone watching, I bet you Tenkaichi 3 is your most favorite Dragon Ball game that you've probably ever played. Tenkaichi 3 gave us so many characters. Yes, there was a lot of copy pastas and every big character felt the same, but it was still cool to attack all these characters, and you could do a 5-on-5, 5-on-1, you could change the power levels of the battle. There was a lot of features in there for you. You had offline modes, you had online modes, it even came to the Wii and you could do some stupid motion controls that no one was looking after. We had different generations of characters. You could pick Dragon Ball Goku and fight Master Roshi, and you could have a very low power level character fight someone from the future like Janemba. You could have Goku from Dragon Ball who can't fly fight Janemba and win. That's crazy. It was crazy fun. And once again, this game also had mod support on the PC as well too. So we were seeing a ton of characters come out and crazy fan fictions. I loved it. And what a surprise. The game that comes after Tenkaichi was Dragon Ball Burst Limit. Burst Limit took the momentum that the Tenkaichi saga gave us as the players and brought it back to the original Budokai style of playing. We were back to the Budokai style of fighting where we were more locked on to the opponents, and you had a lot more rock, paper, scissors battles that were coming out of it. And worst of all, they took away a lot of freedoms that they gave from the previous games. Now when you transformed into Super Saiyan, you can only do it for so long before it de-transforms you, and then you're left wide open. Yes, you got a burst of attack, but you almost felt like not wanting to do it, especially against another player. Against the computer, there's some forgiveness, but if another player knows what they're doing, you're going to get washed. Now, I'm going to skip past the next two games that came after that because they don't really mean much. Yeah, you have Infinite World and Revenge of King Piccolo, but it brings us now to the Raging Blast franchise. It seemed like it was just making up for what Burst Limit tried to do, bring it back to what made Budokai Budokai. But now they removed the restrictions that Burst Limit was given. You could transform into Super Saiyans and stay in that form, and it had its plus and minuses while you were in that form. The combat was updated, they kind of removed a lot of the rock, paper, scissors stuff, and the graphics, they seemed about the same. And of course, right after that came Raging Blast 2. Raging Blast 2 just was a big extension to the original Raging Blast. We got a lot more characters, the action was super gritty, the combos were amazing, you could change the characters' moves, you could do a Spirit Bomb with Goku to a Super Spirit Bomb, different types of Kamehamehas. They let you change the characters' movesets, and it was leading to something that gave the player an idea, an imagination in their head of what was to come. I remember sitting there thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm customizing moves, I'm adding different moves, what if I could make my own Z-Fighter, my own villain, and have those villains fight everyone else? That would be cool. That would be like my perfect game. I could have all original characters, and I can make some really cool characters with a whole bunch of different moves and make it my own. And with this style of fighting, what could happen?
Don't you think that's important information?
Well, I will tell you what will happen. They gave us Dragon Ball Ultimate Tenkaichi. It seems with Dragon Ball games, it's always 2 steps forward and 4 steps backwards. You see, the annoying rock, paper, scissors stuff of some of the previous games came back and it was the mainstay of this one. It didn't even feel like a game. It felt like, I don't even know, like Indigo Prophecy from years ago, just with a Dragon Ball twist. The graphics were a little strange too, and the characters were stiff, and you were just really playing the manga or the actual story of Dragon Ball, and with a minute amount of game involved. It gave us the ability to create our own characters, but I don't want to play 3D rock, paper, scissors. I really don't. I press square and you press square and they cancel each other out, so now I have to press triangle and hope that you press circle. It's stupid. It completely took away the steam that Raging Blast gave us. I wanted to have Raging Blast, plus create a character, smash them together, perfect game. But no, you couldn't give us that. You had to wait. And of course, the next game in the lineup is the Dragon Ball Battle of the Gods. In Battle of the Gods, it just went back to how it was with the Tenkaichi battle mechanics, but you're not making your character anymore. They just completely got rid of that. They took, oh, that would have been a good idea, but it failed in that game, so let's throw it out and let's do a random movie tie-in video game. We all know movie tie-in video games suck. Stop making them.
You look surprised to see me. What's the matter?
However, that led us to the Xenoverse saga. You see, Xenoverse took the battle mechanics that was happening in Battle of the Gods, but they gave us a kind of original story now, which was kind of a first in a lot of these modern Dragon Ball games. We used to just play the original manga, but now we actually have original characters and original storyline. And I'm burying the lead here. You can make your own Z-Fighter. Your own Z-Fighter, and you're not stuck in a rock, paper, scissors battle. You are actually punching and kicking and sending laser beams willy-nilly whenever you want it. And of course, there's got to be a drawback to this. Life's never that perfect. You see, the whole game was pretty much story mode. There was kind of like battle mode and offline battle mode, and I'm about to complain about those. I know you can feel it. After you've done your main story, you're like, yeah, I know how to play. I created my character. He's max level. I have the awesome moves that I've unlocked, and I've put them how I wanted to do, but I'm sick of finding people online. I want to roleplay. I want to fight Cell Jr. as my created character. So you go and do that, only to find that the offline battle mode was 3 minutes long. 3. And some people thought, well, if you couldn't beat a character in 3 minutes, then you're garbage at the game. And that's not the point. I may or may not have been garbage at the game, but I want to have fun. Every fighting game lets me turn off the timer mode. Why is there a timer mode on? And I have one more gripe with Xenoverse. You see, in Xenoverse, you can make one created character. One per playthrough. And God help you if you created a second one. You have to play the entire game over again. And worst sin of all, you can't have your 2 created characters exist in the same world. So if I want to make Saiyan boy fight Saiyan girl, not possible. So let's jump to Xenoverse 2. Whoa, a saga. This is crazy. We got a sequel in it. You see, in Xenoverse 2, they righted a lot of the sins that they got wrong in the previous game. They added a lot more parallel quests, a lot more accessories. You can create multiple characters. However, when it first came out, those characters couldn't exist once again in the same world. I wanted to go create Saiyan Boy versus Saiyan Girl and Majin Dude versus Cell Boy or Android Boy, and you just couldn't have it. You had one character that you were locked to. You had a lot more other characters that you could play as, but I don't want to play as Goku anymore. I'm just going to say it. I want to be my own Goku. I want to make my own thing.
What's a Goku?
However, later in the years, they fixed that with some random patch when I stopped playing, but when I saw it, I returned right away. You see, the patch lets you have multiple characters that you created in the same world. It was crazy. I can finally have Saiyan Boy versus Saiyan Girl. I was so excited. I made my characters, and I did have to level them up again, but you could use a wish for that and kind of get them to where you want and customize them. So there I was in the menu. I go to offline battle mode, and wouldn't you know, it was still locked to 3 minutes. 3 minutes. I couldn't customize any part of the battle. I could pick my characters, and I can pick my level. If I wanted to do 3 dudes fight my one character and create some amazing saga of my own, I couldn't do that because it was 3 minutes. I could do a 2-on-2, but it was still 3 minutes. So if I beat someone because they sucked, and I want to fight the other computer, stuck to 3 minutes. Now I have 20 seconds to save the world. Goku had 400 episodes to kill Frieza, and they gave me 3 minutes. This is ridiculous. However, there was a training mode that I can turn that stuff on, and I could put the computer on the hardest setting, and I could turn off the timer on there, but it wasn't the same. See, when I dropped the computer to 0 health, yeah, they died, but 2 seconds later they got back up, and that just kind of takes away the mystique of winning and losing. Now, there was some cool settings in there, and they actually added a photo mode, which is fantastic, but I don't want to do it in training mode. You're still a fighting game. How do you forget to put the basics of all fighting game rules in there? Let me turn off the timer. Let me add different things. Let me fight more than one computer. What is wrong with you? And this game still had mod support. You could be Super Saiyan Kermit the Frog on PC and you could turn off some of the battle restrictions, but once again, it's not built into the foundation of the game, which is taking away the fun and control from me, the player, the person buying and playing the game. How is this so hard for you to understand? But don't worry, everyone, because they fixed everything I've been complaining about in Xenoverse 3. What? No, they didn't make a Xenoverse 3. No, see, we thought they were going to make that. Instead, they gave us this. They gave us Dragon Ball FighterZ. Now, this game is actually pretty good. However, it's not the type of Dragon Ball game for me. It feels more like a Marvel vs. Capcom thing. Now, I'm not going to speak negatively about this game because I know a lot of people love it, and I don't want to take away any fun from you. However, they also added the different restrictions in there. For the most part, from the very beginning, you couldn't do a one-on-one battle. There was very limited characters, and it had the classic fighting game sin that the Dragon Ball Z games always avoided. See, the Dragon Ball games, you could fly always in. And this one, you can kind of fly, but the camera's like following one dude, and you can get trapped on the side of the map and get juggled to an invisible barrier, which, what is going on? It's a Dragon Ball game. That's why I played Dragon Ball fighting games, because there wasn't really invisible barriers that I could get juggled from. I could do moves to stop it. And it was always a 3-on-3 battle, so to me, it felt like I was just playing Marvel vs. Capcom, which I'm not a fan of. And of course, where's all the creative character stuff? They decided to be like, let's take another 200 steps backwards and here's a random Dragon Ball fighting game. What?
Wait, I think I figured out what's wrong.
But it's okay. After I've complained about Xenoverse, I've complained about Dragon Ball FighterZ, they fixed everything once again. I'm not trolling you this time. They brought everything together into the ultimate Dragon Ball fighting game experience. I'm sorry, they did it. They didn't do that. They gave us Dragon Ball Kakarot, or whatever it's called, the Wild Kakarot Fantasy. You see, I haven't played this game yet. I'm working up the courage to it, but I've talked to a lot of people who have, watched a lot of gameplay, and saw it on Twitch. The game does look fun. They added a whole bunch of cool elements. However, you're just replaying the whole Dragon Ball Z story again, and honestly, who hasn't played that? There's no new features in it from what I saw. Yeah, I'm fighting some random bad guy that I can wish back, and that's kind of cool, and I'm playing the plot holes of the entire saga back in this game, and I'm playing all the side quests and stuff, but ultimately, it's nothing new. Everything that led up to this current Dragon Ball Z game, Kakarot, is nothing new. They didn't learn anything from the other games that came before it, the things that people liked. And that's my entire point here. If Dragon Ball was just held by one developer, if the license was just by someone respectable that could listen to fans and took us on a journey of where we needed to go, we could really get the ultimate Dragon Ball game, the ultimate one. We can create our own characters, have an amazing offline battle. We could have constant characters be added to it. These games that come out just keep adding one new thing that make that game special, but it doesn't appear in any of the other Dragon Ball games, and that just doesn't make any sense to me. It seems like I have to have a whole bunch of different versions of the game just to get one thing I want, and I'm popping discs out and switching between downloads, and there just isn't the best experience out there. What I'm trying to say is, I want to play as my Super Saiyan boy. I want to create whatever character I want with ultimate moves. I want an offline battle mode. I want a level designer. I want to blow up things. I just want it to feel like a good Dragon Ball game. I'm tired of playing the same game over and over.
Would you shut up already?
Well, that's it. That's all I had to say about the Dragon Ball franchise. I know it's not going to change. I know I'm never going to get the perfect Dragon Ball game. It's a lot like how Dynasty Warriors keeps releasing the same game over and over and over again. And we as players keep buying it because, hey, it's the new one and I want to slash a whole bunch of guys. I want to hear what you guys think about it. Tell me what you think about your favorite Dragon Ball game. I know I excluded games from the 80s and 90s because those are just kind of strange and I don't think they fit the bill. Are you enjoying the new one? What are your predictions for the next Dragon Ball game we're gonna get? Leave them down below. I'll sift through them. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. To everyone that's new, please like it if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. Subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff. I'm Rob from DLC. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you in the next video.